Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himbar, and today I'll be doing my weekly update. This is Liam's Leapings number 124 for the 6th of April, 2025. I finished 4 books this week. None of them, I don't own any of them physically. So, first I finished Pendragon by Stephen R. Lawhead, and then I quickly went and then finished Grail by Stephen R. Lawhead. They don't work great, I feel like, in the series because they take place kind of sort of during, pretty much in between the beginning of Arthur and the end of Arthur. And Pendragon actually starts more so in between Merlin and the beginning of Arthur, but because you kind of already know what's going to happen, like some of it doesn't really make much sense. I think it's mostly a publishing error. I think the series is supposed to be longer, and then the publisher was like, "We're only going to do 3 books," so we got Arthur, the book Arthur, which is kind of rushed. So I did enjoy Grail, though. I mean, besides the fact that I kind of knew it was going to go on, is that it still had it was more magical than Arthur and Pendragon were, and so I liked that in a sense. I also finished the Crystal Cave by Mary Stewart, the first book in her Merlin series, I think, as it's normally considered, and um, it was fine. Very like unoriginal compared to all the other stuff I've read, but also it's older than all the other stuff I've read. That is, or Arthurian retellings. So I guess maybe they're less original. But I've also been reading romances, of course, too. And the other one I've been reading that's been going on for a few weeks now is Pearl's Faust, which I'm like halfway through now. So I'm going really slow. I'd like to get a really good chunk of it done this week, if not finish it. So focus a bit more on it. The other book I finished, because I finished all Arthurian books this week, was The Strife of Camlan by Sean Page. I don't know. Anyways, Pogue. It's kind of what my buddy T was telling me. It's his guess in a sense still, but I enjoyed it. It's interesting because the first book, Retreat to Avalon, is like very much kind of like works by itself, and then this one is also like more of an ending in some way. I think I'm not a big fan of how Pogue concludes these books. Like he just kind of like ends in a way. I don't think I think he lacks the ability to get a big emotional payoff in some sense. It's definitely there at times, but then it's a little inconsistent, I think, as well. So they're not bad. They're really not bad books. Actually, I really like them. It's just they are held back from being favorites in a sense. So, but like I said, they're really not bad. And then the books that I started reading, there's a number of them. Sorry, I'm making my thumbnail while I do this because I don't believe in not multitasking. Except for my computer's not working properly. So you can hear it working itself ragged. There we go. My computer is old. I need a new one. I lack the funds for such a new one, though. Anyways, so besides Pearl's Faust, I'm also reading Lancelot by Giles Christian. I should mention that one because it's Arthurian. But it's okay. It's interesting. I'm enjoying it. In some ways, I can't feel like this ends in a positive place. Whether that's this book or I believe it's a trilogy technically. So, and I'm like really not looking forward to that now. And it scared me too because I actually read his author's note, which is at the end of the book. I read it before, and he says like he's kind of just doing his own thing, but he was inspired to write this based off reading the Warlord Chronicles. And that scared me because I was not a big fan of the Warlord Chronicles, but reading it so far, it is not nearly as edgy. It makes a lot more sense, and it's a lot more enjoyable. In fact, I'm not even a big fan of Lancelot, like as a character, like whether it's in the romances or not. Like I'm not a big Lancelot fan, and in the TV show Merlin, he's fine, but I just prefer other people like Gawain, Percival. So, anyways, it's working really well. Like in a sense, it's very much a coming of age. It's very much not a young adult or middle grade coming of age. It's very much adult, but it's pretty gruesome there for a while. So it's kind of mellowed out a little bit. But Also, I feel like I really like the Lancelot bits, which is pretty much like Lancelot. He's not really connected to the happenings. Now I'm halfway through the book, and this is like right when King Arthur comes in, and I don't feel like I'm going to enjoy it as much from here on out. So I'm really like wary of it. Like I said, I'm afraid it's going to do something stupid or really bad and like be come off really edgy or whatever. But so far, it's actually enjoyable. I'm just like I don't know why I started reading it. I'm kind of wary of these historical retellings right now because I've read so many of them recently, and so uh, but here I am. So the other two books I read though were to help me get back into Forgotten Realms stuff, and so I have one of them physically right here, Black Wizards by Douglas Niles, book 2 in the Moonshade trilogy. This is kind of Arthurian too. It's not. I mean, because it's a Forgotten Realms, but it is Arthurian in a sense. So, and I'm enjoying it. I'm about halfway through this one as well, and it's really not bad. Um, I'm enjoying it in some ways more than the first book. The first book I thought started really well and just ended kind of eh. So these are early Forgotten Realms books, so they're really not bad. Like I said, they're just we shall see how this one ends. Um, but yeah, not bad. I also am reading, really close to finishing actually, Promise of the Witch King by R.A. Salvatore. This one's been weird for me. First off, I'm reading it on my phone, which I do sometimes, but I normally only do it um, when when I have the book physically. I almost always only read Forgotten Realms books I have physically, and I have the previous one, right? But I don't have this one, and that's weird. I should probably get it. I haven't bought a lot of books lately, but I felt like, oh, I should just continue first because I'm going very slowly through them. But okay pace through the rest of the Forgotten Realms books, and wanted to go a little faster, so here I am reading it. And then we know what's interesting actually is that it's written 4 years after Servant of the Shard. I really didn't care for Servant of the Shard at all. Like I just didn't care. It's not entertaining. It's not good, which is how I feel about most R.A. Salvatore books. And this one's a lot better. Like it's noticeably better. But he also wrote another series in between it. I think he wrote the Thousand Orcs, whatever series that's called, Hunter's Blade trilogy maybe. And so he's had some time to improve, but that's not saying much since the first book he wrote in the late 80s, and now I'm like before this I'd been 14 years into his books, and they're still not really good. And so what's an extra 4 years do? Apparently something, because maybe it's because it's not on the Sword Coast. It's not literally, there is no Drizzt in this at all. Like he's not even writing these preludes or these interludes or whatever. There's literally no Drizzt. Right? Because even when there's no Drizzt in the other stories, he's still there writing these like interludes and stuff. And Shuri actually has some okay character development for once. Jarlaxle also seems like okay. There doesn't all seem two-dimensional, useless garbage, which is how I normally feel about R.A. Salvatore stuff. Now I do think there's one character in here. I don't remember her name. Let's see. I have my notes. Ellery. And I think she kind of, if I'm remembering the character's name from the cleric content better, more rather, uh, Rufo. I felt like Rufo's character was super wasted. Like it was just useless. Like it's pretty much just how I get this idea that Salvatore wants these characters to be evil, and he literally makes them unredeemable. He'll literally just kill them, right? Like, and it's just like weird, right? Because like I can understand having like cartoony evil characters, but if he has a character that has any semblance of actually being not bad but making some bad choices, he doesn't redeem them unless they're freaking like Artemis Centuri or Jarlaxle. It doesn't make any sense. But if it's like there for like Rufo, right? He just needed a villain, so he made Rufo irredeemable, even though Rufo was just a bully, not some monster. You know what I mean? Or like Ellery, who was like had some character development. She had a lot of good stuff, and then bam, she just dies literally randomly. As a spoiler, I know, and I don't freaking care, but like it's just so stupid how Salvatore treats his characters like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. But overall, it's actually noticeably better, which I was kind of surprised by. So I have one more book left in the Sellsword trilogy. My voice is a little rough. I'm slightly under the water. So, anyways, now that I've talked too much, I got 2 books this week actually. I got Quest of the Holy Grail. This is Vulgate Lancelot Grail's saga. This has Galahad Grail, so I'm going to read this after I read the Percival stuff. I also got Tristan, which it says by Gottfried von Strasbourg, but it actually has the Tristan of Thomas of Britain as well. So it actually, where Strasbourg's ends, it picks up with Thomas of Britain's. Now, I think more of it is by Strasbourg than by Thomas of Britain. And then there's a Middle English version of Sir Tristram I want to read, which is by Thomas. I think it's by Thomas the Rhymer, actually, who's basing his stuff off Thomas of Britain. But anyways, I have a video coming out Wednesday. Of like 2 hours more. More than 2 hours video of T and I talking about Arthurian Lent. We also hate on the Wheel of Time a lot. And then this last Wednesday, I came out with 2.5 hours of material for philological material, which I'm really proud of. They're not really popular videos, either of them. One of them is on this channel. It's about Viking, the word Viking, Old English word witching, normally, mostly. And then also on my other channel, the homily channel, I've been doing my supplementary lecture for that 4th reading I've done. It's 1 hour and 40 minutes, which is really long. That's the longest one I've had by far. And I'm proud of them, though. I really like doing that stuff. I find it very worthwhile. I hope other people like them, but they're not very popular. And philology is not everyone's cup of tea. Most of the people are not coming to my channel for that stuff, and I get that. So, but whatever. Anyways, I like that, though. I was happy.